it's much easier to keep the money in escrow than it is to say that you're not going to pay the money. Because if you say they're not going to pay the money, then that leaves them with the thought, well, maybe they don't have the money. If you put the money in escrow, but I'm telling you, it is a tough fucker to get the money out of escrow, because virtually all escrow accounts need two signatures, both sides of the transaction. And the other side can, or you for that matter, can just decide that you're not going to sign or you're not going to agree, so the money stays in escrow. But I mean, the smaller size deals, you're asking questions that aren't going to happen. You're making the thing more fucking confusing. You know, that's the trouble with the. I mean, you're putting in more contingencies than the Dell deal had, or the. I mean, just.
Yeah.
You can't. Bottom line is, you cannot ever cover all the bases. You cannot take all the risk out.
Just manage it.
That's it. It's the management of the risk, not the elimination of the risk. You're never going to eliminate all the risks, but you have to be able to manage the risk. And your dream team and your board will be there because of their experience to be able to manage the risks and the speed bumps that turn out to be Grand Canyons. Yeah, right.
When you leave funds in the escrow account, is that from the bank lending as well, or is that cash you're putting?
It can be from both.
So we never want to put our own cash in, do we?
No.
So
Well, I mean, you shouldn't be putting your own cash in it.
So when you put funds into escrow, where does that money come from? Past profits, past deals, or?
No. You shouldn't be putting your money. It's the bank's money. The bank will understand putting part of the purchase price in escrow.
Oh, okay, got you. Perfect. Yeah, okay. I've got another sort of unrelated question. When so the model I'm looking at with bedpans is a lot of them are on their NHS contracts. So the bulk of the income's quite low because they're doing a lot of downward bids, which is killing their margins. So their books look like shit. And I've seen this across 20, 30 deals. And the reason why the chairman gave me an idea and said the private market's huge though. So what I've done, and I think this takes up a lot of time, every bedpan that comes to me, I call up the competitive care homes, the competition locally, and say, well, what's your private rate? What's the waiting list? What's the waiting time? So I started actually, there is a demand here, there's no demand here. But that takes up a lot of time to see if it's even worth me offering, or just kick him in the nuts and move on. Or do I actually say, well, there might be some...
Well, can't you delegate that portion?
Yeah, well, I've already created a little system for it. But I'm just wondering, am I wasting time doing that bit? Because all I have to do is send an email out, here's the address, do 10, 15 phone calls. But am I wasting my staff's time by doing that before?
No, but you're just solidifying that the market's real. Isn't that, if I
I always get scared if I'm doing too much research before the...
No, but that's, that should take a half a day maximum.
Oh, less than that.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if I could scale up. Am I going the wrong way?
No. That's more or less that's the min and the maximum of research you should be doing.
Okay, and then we create a separate financial appraisal to say this is if we drive the private occupancy from 10 to 60%, these are the set of accounts that we forecast. Or is that am I completely wasting time?
No, okay, say that again. I want to make sure I understand.
So what we do is we split it. So we have we have social and private, what the current mix is on how it's currently run, and then we say, we create a new financial appraisal. That's what my chairman got me to do, and say, well, as soon as we take over and we start marketing, blah blah blah, do a couple of refurbs. Here's the new financial appraisal of, and now we've got 60%.
Oh, the new model.
Yeah, 60% private tenants, 40% social. Eventually we want it to be 100% private.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wasting time creating those financial appraisals as well? Because he's very...
No. I think that's actually a good idea, yeah.
So it's just like creating a what-if sort of financial... Okay, that's fine, okay. I just felt like, fuck, I just want to do a deal. I'm wasting time, but... I'm doing.
No, remember, if you want to do a bad deal, bad enough to do a bad deal. I mean, you want to do the best deal you can, given the constraints. One of which is time, two of which is money. Which you want to get the best bang for your buck. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Okay, now, what cases, what is the next case?
You got one left.
You said earlier on you had a couple.
Yeah. Chang Dental Clinic.
That's the one I looked at as well. I've got one left to do, yeah. This works.
So once we've done the last couple of Harvard cases,
Is this a question or a statement of universal knowledge or something? What are you saying?
what's next?
We go through all the cases,
Yeah.
which will be done by, you guys are a little bit ahead of the curve, but will be done by lunchtime tomorrow. And then from lunchtime on, we'll go through some role playing, not you role playing, me role playing, what you want to see done, both sides. We'll answer whatever questions that are still questions. And then, we finish up late tomorrow afternoon and we get ready for the black tie function. Which is, we're plus or minus 10% of being on schedule, as they say here. But in some of the cases, one of the cases, or not just one, there's a couple of the cases, the kids have really done some, they've decided to really go in and do some really high level research because they wanted to see if, and that's fine, they wanted to see if after high level research they came up with the same answer as they did. But I mean, our simple model is going to come plus or minus 10%. If it's a doable deal,
That's all you want to know.
yeah, it's going to always come up with, it's close enough. And the joke is close enough for government work, and in reality, I mean, there's a lot of business in the government work, but that's all you need to do is get close enough. And then the professionals, the accountants and the lawyers, especially the accountants, will get in there and, turn over, all the rocks. And even in a full-blown audit, as I said yesterday, they don't look at every piece of paper. They look at every fifth or every third invoice or piece of paper to verify. But the thing that really needs to be looked at 100% is, do they own what they say they own? And are the contracts that they have what they think they are? And as they post, on their website. And I've told you, I've seen deals where they've had a contract they thought was a 30-year contract, that it wasn't. It was just every year that it was automatically renewed by accident by the company. And unfortunately, as soon as you buy it, they'll look at the contracts again and decide, well, no, it's time to renegotiate the contract. And you based your financing and God knows what else on this, this permanent cash flow you thought you had forever. There's a famous contract from years ago, Gulf Oil had, where they were selling, 3 billion cubic feet a day or 30 billion cubic feet a day, which is a lot of gas. And this is when gas was like 10, 15, 20 cents a thousand cubic foot, a long time ago. And this was a 50 or 60-year contract. Well, in 10 or 15 years, the price of gas went up to $1 or $2. So, but they had locked in long-term contracts, and so they're providing it to other people at huge losses. And of course, the actual signed contract could never be found. They wanted to pin the signature on somebody, and like magic, it disappeared. And so when Chevron bought Gulf, Chevron said, well, we're not going to lose fucking $7 million a year on this goddamn thing just because Gulf was happy to lose $7 million a year. But it was one of those things that they thought, but it was, and if you have it was implicit that there was a contract there. So you want to know what you're buying. You're really buying means that they really own it, and that the contracts they have are real, and it's still enforceable even under new ownership. Some contracts go null and void and change your ownership. And just a quick look at the contract doesn't show that. It's normally in the footnotes. And that's what you want to know. You want to know. And you want to know that the key employees are going to stay. And so you give them extra incentive to make sure they stay. But other than that, all the rest is pretty much bullshit. You're pretty much bullshit. There's different laws in America if you go between interstate or intrastate. But all that's bullshit. At the end of the day, it's all that bullshit. And there's different laws about being in the EU, not being in the EU. But as far as I can tell, Brexit hasn't changed anything. I could be proven wrong down the line. But I'm certainly not going to wait till the final, if I'm living here, the final Brexit contracts are signed, sealed, and delivered. That means you're taking 3, 4, 5 years, you're not going to do anything. Now that suits some big companies, fine. But you're not Siemens, you're not, Ford here. You're getting started, so you can't wait for that kind of stuff.
Where would you, an SDLC letter or a letter of credit?
Letter of credit, yeah. What about it?
Where does that kind of fit in this? Where does that sort of take into play? Like a bank guarantee.
Well, bank guarantee. A bank guarantee is guaranteeing. Well, first of all, you're not going to be financing these deals with bank guarantees, because that's a secondary or a tertiary finance. That's not eyeball to eyeball. Bank A is going to finance purchase 1. Bank A gets a letter of credit or a bank guarantee for the purchase. It has nothing to do with that bank guarantee. Bank A is still on the hook. That's a secondary financing. Used to buy oil that way with bank guarantees and letters of credit. It was the old back-to-back game, they used to call it. And then they used to have daisy trains of 3, 4, 5, 6 banks.
So that one's guaranteeing that one.
Correct. And then one bank fails, and the chain stops because there's no relationship between the two ends. There was a relationship between the middle and the end, this end, and the middle and this end. And those are, I won't say they're virtually unheard of, but there's still guys, like the Nigerian chain letters that are on. There's still guys, mostly in African countries, that don't know that the back-to-back deal died in the 70s. And I'm ashamed to say there are still people that do deals, thinking the back-to-back still works. It's like, I'm poor, send me $1, and 8 million people send them $1. Or I found a cure for cancer and I need $20 million, send me $1. And 40 million people send it to them. That model still works. And that's why P.T. Barnum was absolutely 100% accurate. There was a sucker born, he said every minute, I think every second. And the new sucker plays are internet-based, 100% of them. There's little people, and...
What they used to call bribes, enhancements fee?
Yeah, something like that, yeah. But there's some little lady with a debit card in Mumbai that'll send, 500 rupees. It's sad, but it's true. And those guys that are taking advantage of those deals, you talk about heartless, guys, they're just unbelievable. And there's people, I helped a girl recently that was very, very ill. And apparently other people couldn't ascertain if she was really ill enough. But I went to in fact, Kat was part of the research. Remember? Yeah. And we found out the kid was really sick, dying. So I helped her, and I bought something for her that was important to her. But if you got to go through that much effort to find out if it's a legitimate deal, next. You talk to the doctor at Georgetown. Yeah, okay. So, but this model isn't built to do that kind of research. And there's so many deals out there, you don't have to.
Yeah. That's where your accountants and your...
Correct. Most of the accountants.
That's all the uni grads who do all the...
Yeah. Mostly accountants.
I love it. I want to charge you for it too.
Oh, they're very good at that. And they work on a pyramid scheme, meaning the lower level first year associates, 5 or 6 or 8 will be doing research, and that's how they're learning. And they turn them over to the junior managers. There's 3 or 4 of those. Then they turn them over to the senior managers, a couple of those. Then they turn over to the very senior manager, which is he's the engagement manager, but not the engagement partner, who then uplifts it to the engagement partner. Or you may even have 2 engagement partners. And most big decisions have to have a partner review. And all, meaning at least 3 partners, and all that's money. They're not doing all these reviews just to double check so they don't make a mistake. They're doing that, but and some people say that the process could be cut by 75%. I don't know if that's true, but I know it could be cut quite a bit. But they have no incentive to stop the process because they're charging all the way up. And there's a reason why, all of the big 4 accounting firms roughly have revenues between 18 and 25 billion, all 4 of them. And they all have, 80, 90, 100,000 employees.
It's about the same.
Yeah.
If you, so I've got an engagement letter at the moment, agreed terms, what they roll over, what they create, blah, blah, blah. Let's say we do 2 deals. And it's a little on the highest because they don't know us, so they probably jacked up the premium.
Or maybe they do know you, and that's why they're charging you high.
That's pretty
In my case, sometimes I get a high fee just because they do know me, because they know it's going to be hard work. Peña's hard work. Okay, but go ahead.
And that's fine. And so you do 2, it all pretty much happens within reason, whatever it is. Can you renegotiate new terms?
Yeah. Not before the deal's over.
You get the first 1 or 2 done.
First 1. If they're really onerous, 1, then you sit down and they get paid. Now, if it's owner finance and they didn't get paid, they'll be
obviously they'll be paid. My deal, I've got bank debt, so we know there's about 400 to 700k in fees for everybody on the first one, for the lawyers and the board and what have you. So we pay that, whatever that is. Because the first one we're looking at, it shits about 2 mil even. So then we go back and say, now the percentages are these if you want to move forward with us.
No, I wouldn't do it that way. The glow of them getting paid, okay, the bloom is still on the rose. I wouldn't have a lunch or maybe you'd meet them at Starbucks or meet them for a drink and say, we're looking at all these other deals. We've proven ourselves. We've produced. We've performed. Now we want a more straight up relationship with you. Now, but the challenge there is, but we don't want to pay at the end. Get paid at the end. Okay.